Hello, I'm Richard Edwards, and this is the second of our production diaries for Peter Cushing in His Own Words, our new documentary. Every week we talk to people who are featuring in our film, and today we meet Bright MBE, chairman of Elstree Studios, for the second time. Last week it was the tour around the studios, but today it's the interview upstairs in the studio. So we'll find out a little bit about what's happening at Elstree today, and he'll give us an insight into what's in store for Elstree in the future. Maurice, thank you ever so much for doing the interview and contributing to the Peter Cushing documentary. Wonderful. But I couldn't let the opportunity go. Sitting in the original preview theatre for Elstree Studios with the chairman of Elstree Studios, one of the greatest film studios in the world, not just the home to Star Wars, but so many wonderful movies over the last 90 plus years. First of all, how proud are you to be chairman of such a wonderful studio?
It's an extraordinary privilege to be a chairman of the studios. I've been a film fan all my life, television fan all my life. I love the industry. I'm respectful of the industry. So to have an opportunity to oversee the running of a studios, which has played such an important part in all our lives, whether as a film fan or someone that's in production, is a great honour. And there's not a day goes past when I don't come in thinking, wow, I'm delighted to be back in this box of tricks, in this magic box as it's known.
We can touch on in a minute about some of the great landmarks in Elstree's history. But if you walk around here now, it's full, it's busy, it's doing a lot of film, it's doing a lot of TV. The Crown is here, so Netflix, a very new way of watching TV and enjoying feature films. So it's very much tuned into the future of stuff, isn't it? I mean, let's look ahead to Elstree's future and then come back and talk about some of the landmarks.
I often say that nostalgia is fantastic, and it is. Hitchcock's first talking picture, the country's first talking picture. Hitchcock's Blackmail, made here in 1929. Yeah. First Star Wars trilogy, Indiana Jones trilogy. This is all fantastic, and this is all history, and it's all nostalgia. But nostalgia doesn't pay the bills. And if we want to keep the studios going, and we want to be able to remember the history, but in a studio that's still live, you have to be literally set for the future. And that's what we've made sure that we've done here. We're not running some kind of glee club that says, come and have a look at what we used to make here. We're very much keeping up with what the industry wants. Small but perfectly formed, not me, the chairman, the studios. We're not competing with Pinewood. We're not competing with Shepperton. We're not competing with Leavesden. They are very big studios that are primarily film related because of the size of their stages, which is fantastic. We've always done a lot of television at Elstree. People can be very snobbish about television, but I'd point them back to the 1960s and remind them of The Saint, the Avengers, Jason King, The Protectors, Randall and Hopkirk and so on, and all the studios. Pinewood had The Persuaders. Shepperton used to make advertisements. Ridley Scott said to me, he said, I was making adverts in the 1960s. It was keeping Shepperton alive. No one wants to talk about it because they only want to talk about films. But people have been quite snobbish. So here in Elstree, we've always made television. We make some wonderful TV here. We have Strictly Come Dancing, which even though it was at White City, came here and is staying here. It loves being on the big stage. We have A League of Their Own. We have Pointless, and we have The Chase, which always makes me laugh because you've got the two shows being made literally next to each other, stages, and then they go out on two channels next to each other at the same time. So we have those, and we have Celebrity Juice. I think Have I Got News for You's coming in now. Room 101 was here. Historically, Dancing on Ice used to be here many years ago. So we like having television here, and they like being here because if it's a show like A League of Their Own or Strictly, they're actually on a huge film stage rather than on a television stage, and that gives them capacity in HD and with audience. It just makes the show buzz. When Strictly was at White City, it was a great show. It had about 650 audience. I think up to here we can get over 800, 850. And I saw for the first time, I hadn't seen it before, I was invited by the head of production to come and see it. And a week when there was 13 performances, a live show, and I watch, because I come from the industry, not what's going on the stage, but how everyone's bringing stuff in and off. It is extraordinary watching 13 different acts getting ready as the cutaways are being done, bringing stuff on, bringing stuff, sets on and off, making this all work within 2 hours. It's wonderful. And I think live television brings an atmosphere to a studios that filmed stuff doesn't. It's very stop-start. film stuff, and film itself is only a couple of minutes a day. But even drama, which is more than that, it's stop-start, it's hanging around. Live, yeah, there's something there about live. And even with Big Brother's been here now for 16 years. I was here the day the first planks of the house came in from Alaska, back in February 2002, a freezing day, when they brought them in and started to put them out on the old water tank, which is where Moby Dick was done, and the Dam Busters. But you go to an eviction, which again is live, and it's very exciting. Lights flashing, fireworks, people coming on and off. Love it. And Elstree works well, and TV likes Elstree because it gets engulfed, it gets a bit swamped in a much bigger studio. And so if you're in Pinewood and you've got 6 stages of Les Mis and 7 stages of Bond, and you're 1 stage in the middle, you feel a bit swamped. Not intentionally, but that's the way it is. Here we're small, niche studios. People like to come here and make television. We love any size of production here. Everybody's welcome.
Paul's campaign to save the studios was a huge trial on his part, I'm sure, but he came through. He beat off the big guys, the big bank, but he needed the local authority support for that. So there is that kind of safety net now that's helping to preserve Elstree, but doing it with a commercial eye. So because it's giving it a future.
I've known Paul Welsh 25 years. I am the leader of the local authority as well as chairman of the studios. The local authority owns the studios site. But I was a broadcast journalist then. And as I said earlier, I'm very passionate about the industry, always have been. So part of what I was doing in the early to mid-90s was meeting up with people like Paul Welsh to try and get stuff on television to say, look what's going on at Elstree, look what's going on at Elstree. And I was very proud to have played a part in that. Then I became a councillor in the late 90s. The studios were bought by the council, which had money at the time from the sale of its council houses, and they bought and they invested in the site. So people like Paul Welsh deservedly got an MBE for running the Save Our Studios campaign. The local council was right to invest taxpayers' money into it, but it's important that they get a return from it. And I think what is important is that the industry respects that you've got a local authority that's funded the site. All the money and all the profit that's made from the site goes straight back to the local authority. What that means is that everyone that lives in Hertsmere, not just Elstree and Boreham Wood, it's called Elstree Studios in Boreham Wood, but everyone that lives in the borough of Hertsmere, their council tax is subsidised by 20%. Everyone, 100 and something thousand people. That's the profit from here. The shareholders are the residents. These truly are studios of the people, for the people. And I think that's very important going forward, because what we don't want is for the studios to find themselves in the position they were in 20-something years ago, when we had developers flying over the top, trying to buy them under pretense and settle them for blocks of flats and development. We need to keep what we've got. We are now looking at building more stages. We have space, and we've identified money to do it. We've gone to the industry to say, what do you want? Don't just build something for the sake of it and hope they will come. Ask what they want. Ask what they need now. And we will make sure we have the right technology here as well. We are 12 miles where we are sitting 12 miles from Tottenham Court Road in Soho. Everyone imagines you say, Elstree Studios in Hertfordshire, we're in the middle of nowhere. 12 miles from the centre of London with this post-production. We're very close. People like to come here, audiences like to come here, production likes to come here. But it behoves us as a local authority not to interfere. Make sure you've got the professionals that run it. I'm a chairman, we oversee it, the board, but we have professionals like Roger Morris, the managing director, and his team who run it for us. It's a team effort. And as a consequence, the studios really is now doing better than it ever has done. And that's good for the industry. It's good for jobs. It's good for the local area. And it's good for the residents. Everyone's a winner.
Maurice, thank you very much for your hospitality and for the contribution to the documentary. And thanks for this little interview. And every success for the future.
Thank you. And you too. It's been a delight. Thank you.